Guys, and welcome back to All the Mods 9 Progression Log 10. I've got a lot to show you. I hope you guys have had a good week. I know I have. All right, so we're actually going to start over here with the most obvious thing. Here is the frame for the end slash prototype of the command tower I've wanted to build for, I don't know, weeks or whatever. Um, so I really like this frame. This frame is probably one of my favorite things I've ever built in Minecraft. It's definitely much better. I'm not usually that great at curves. Normally whenever I have to like build Minecraft circles, I just look up a guide. But last night I was just like, fuck it, we build. And it worked out okay. I'm not so much of a huge fan of this top part. I like it, but it's not as good as the frame. It just feels a little bit anticlimactic to have this massive, frame and then this tiny little orb here. It is, just a prototype though. Eventually, I want to be able to make this in a way where I can just copy paste it and tile it and just put it wherever I want because it does fit in a chunk. Just the base needs to fit in the chunk. If I want like the upper part, like an observation deck or something to extend out, that'd be fine. Because the way I want to be able to tile this is I can just raise it up as far as I want and then just have these straight pillars go all the way down as far as I need them to make sure that it doesn't, block anything or get in the way of anything that I'd want to build. So as long as it's tall enough, that way I don't have to like, do massive terraforming projects like for the rest of the base, which is fine, but it does make some expansion districts like this one exceedingly time consuming, especially since we have to dissolve most of a hill. The American Highway Special. There's a hill in the way? No, there's not. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. I really like this frame though. I I do need to figure out a better orb though, a better like how to use it. I do like the idea of like these sort of like smart screens, almost like directional stuff where like I'm looking right here, so these storage monitors here should have things that are important relating to that. Like this one over here can have like fissile fuel and stuff from over there. Right here I can have like some petrochem stuff, more petrochem stuff, and then like circuit stuff over here. Like I think that's kind of cool. I'm not sure if I'll continue to do that, but I think it looks pretty good. We'll have to see where this goes. Like I said, this was a prototype. I spent like a couple hours on this last night, mostly on the frame. I didn't have so much time on the orb because when I was done, it was like 1:45 in the morning, and I was like, okay, I gotta go to bed. So, all right. So this is so I'm happy with this, but we'll have to see where that goes in coming weeks or so. What else have I done? Oh, I have Ender IO now. Uh, we can with travel anchors. And here's the new farm, by the way. I know I talked about having to rebuild it, and I didn't really feel like doing it, and eventually, I think what I find is the hardest part of any project I've started is actually that starting it. Like sometimes you're like, oh man, I really don't want to do it, or it just looks like it's gonna be just a pain in the ass. And sometimes it might actually, be a pain in the ass. But sometimes, things just gotta get done. So even if it's gonna suck a little bit, sometimes you just gotta do it. And that's sometimes what I tell myself is if something is like really annoying, but I really have to do it, then it's just oh well, has to be done. And then I just kind of can start it. I really like this farm layout is much better than what we had before. The downside is it doesn't duplicate seeds. The botany pots have a chance to duplicate most seed types, not all of them, but most of them. But this design isn't mine. I have slightly modified it. There's growth accelerators underneath. Hold on, let me shrink, get real small. There we go. Oh, oh, it got reset. That's weird. Anyway, I have some supremium growth accelerators underneath to also help with making them grow faster. We have these lily pads of fertility in order to also make it grow faster, and we are growing on supremium farmland to also make it grow faster. You can go up to Insanium farmland, but we had a bunch of this stuff already from the old farm, and I didn't really feel like crafting a bunch of Insanium stuff. This is more than fast enough. We're growing things like water seeds, some elemental stuff, dye seeds, fluorite. We have some grains of infinity over here for Ender IO. Lots of fluorite because we have a mechanism reactor, as you can see over there. We got Certus quartz, we got Fluix, more Certus. We have mostly Certus quartz here because we have lots of Fluix. Like we have a lot of Fluix. Certus we don't have nearly so much of, but we're a lot better now because this farm's been going for a while. We have wood seeds over here. We also have some fish seeds for lubricant still. We have actually fewer fish seeds than we had on the old farm, but they're much faster, so it's fine. We also have much fewer wood seeds, but it's also fine because they're, again, much faster. This farm is actually pretty freaking fast. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's pretty good. I'm very happy with it. It's not entirely done. I still have there's lots of crafting stuff to do, and we're not even growing even in like we have like I think we're growing like 6 or 7 different types of seeds, and we have a lot. Because going to rebuilding this farm gave me the chance to figure out what we were still growing things like redstone and diamonds and iron, things that we don't actually need to grow anymore. So I was able to pull a lot of different types of seeds out of the farm. So that was nice. What else? Oh, playtime. Right. Okay, here we go. Playtime. Sometimes I forget to show this, and I'm deeply apologetic. Time played is 17.83 days. I have a calculator. I can tell you what that is. Let's see. That is 427.92 hours. So almost 428 hours. And I can't believe, sometimes I keep forgetting that I've played this pack for 430 hours and change. Right? One of my favorite games of all time is Ultra Kill. To the point where as I've beaten the game on the hardest difficulty, perfect ranked it. I used to do speed running and stuff. Like I love Ultra Kill. I have like 460 hours in Ultra Kill combined. And I have almost as much time in Ultra Kill as I have I have almost as much time in this pack as I do in Ultra Kill, which really blows my mind. There are very few games. There's actually 2 games that I can play like this, and it's modded Minecraft and Stellaris. Those are the only games that can hold my attention for like 10 hours a day or whatever. Even Ultra Kill is only able to play it's so intense that I play like maybe like an hour, 2 hours. When I was speedrunning, I only played like 2 hours at a time, for example. So I love modded Minecraft. It's so much fun. What else have I got? Oh, we've passive quantum stars, so we're gonna go ahead. Oh, we have the farm overlook. We can teleport over here. Then we can teleport to Petrochem. This is nice. I'm so happy I got around to Ender IO. It wasn't even that bad. It took me like an hour last night. There's been like a bunch of things in this pack where I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be a pain in the ass, and I just like forget about it or don't want to do it. So then when I actually get around to doing it, it takes me like an hour because it turns out we already have almost everything we need for it. We have quantum stars on passive here because we have DML. Well, it's actually not DML. It's hostile neural networks, but I call it DML because that's what it's always been for me. So we've got quantum stars on passive here because we had radon gas on passive for literally like a couple hundred hours or so, I think. We have more LCRs over here. When I was doing the mechanism reactor, which I'll talk about in a moment, originally we were making a uranium hexafluoride by the mechanism way. Sorry, not the mechanism way. The Greg Tech way. Because I got to use the uraninite dust, which I had an absolute monstrous amount of. And if I ran this at EV or even IV, EV, IV, 0.6 seconds for a bucket. And that's really fast. Faster than mechanism. However, it does take 8 times the fluorite versus mechanism. To the point whereas we couldn't support that kind of fluorite consumption. So I had to switch it off to the mechanism way, which is slower, but we couldn't. It was a ridiculous amount of fluorite, so I had to change it, and it's fine. We produce 128 millibuckets a tick worth of fissile fuel now, and that would be a lot of. That's a lot. We'll go ahead and talk about it now. So this mechanism reactor is burning at 75 millibuckets a tick. I've pushed it up to 85 without any problems. Over here I can show you how we deal with nuclear waste. Nuclear waste processing a mechanism always sucks. It's just because it's harder to deal with radioactives because mechanism is mean and they don't let you run it through AE unless you use there's a asterisk on that. You can't use the normal chemical drives. You actually have to use special radioactive drives from megacells in this case. But without megacells, I don't know if you could actually run this through AE drives. So we have lots of polonium, which is nice. I keep a pretty large stockpile of it, so whenever we hook up an SPS, we have a bunch of polonium we can just dump into it. So we're not producing any plutonium because we don't really need that much of it. Over here we keep I have a level emitter here with when I have more than 2,500 buckets of polonium, it'll just take the extra and turn it into pellets. And for example, we have a lot of polonium pellets. Uh, and nuclear waste is in this hyper box down here. I have a bunch of radioactive waste barrels down here, and I have enough where it actually is able to delete all of the nuclear waste. It doesn't stockpile down here, and I can just keep going down. And even if it does get to the point, you have to burn like a ridiculous amount. Like, I think if I filled up this hypercube with enough nuclear waste barrels, I don't even I. Well, I mean, this is enough for 85 millibuckets to take a burn rate. So 160 or so, if I doubled it, it would be a lot. It would be a lot of power. So I'm not concerned about nuclear waste anymore. Um, it's just that I really hate having to run this cable over here. I could do P2Ps, but again, I have to pump out of a cable anyway. There was a comment on my last video about like if you right click it with a configurator, it would auto export. I tried that. It didn't seem to work, but I can always try it again on like another test build or something. But this produces a lot of power. At 75 millibuckets a tick, it produces 4.28 million RF per tick. We use a little bit less than that or so. We're okay. I might bump it up a little bit. Last night and earlier today, when I was just doing a little bit of prep work for the video, we weren't consuming nearly that much power. There you go. We can see we're like anywhere from like 3.5 to like, and we'll spike to like, maybe we can take a look down here. Yeah, we're around 3.8 to 4.4, so we're okay on power. I'm not concerned about it. If I ever see the buffer has gone down a little bit, I can just add a couple millibuckets to burn rate. It's pretty good. I'm very happy with this power system. This is like from the last video, I had to completely tear it down and rebuild it, obviously. I removed all the power reactors. I had to move the boiler from over here to over here, and I tore down this chunk's worth of stuff and rebuilt the reactor entirely. We can burn up to 225 millibuckets a tick, so we've got a lot of headroom on this reactor. I'm pretty sure that this boiler here could theoretically boil off that much water for steam. The real problem is just feeding it enough water. Like, we have a lot of sinks here, just dumping water into it, because these pipes only have like let's see what their pump rate is. It's not like, it's high, but it's not that high. Yeah, 32 buckets a tick. So maybe like using laser IO or something would be faster. I don't know. When I always just use mechanism pipes for this. Maybe I'll rebuild it with laser IO stuff. I don't know. When it comes to like laser IO, if you really crank them up with like the insane amounts of transfer rate, they can start ticking pretty heavily. And excuse me, we're actually already in slowdown territory. With 2 people on, we are in slowdown territory. When it's just me, we're just below that. So we're just in the. I'm just gonna have to live with the server being slow, with the slowdown stuff. I've worked with. I think I mentioned this last video. I've like supports for the for this server has been super fucking helpful. It's insane how helpful they've been in trying to get the server to run better. But it just comes down to yep, this is an ATM9 pack and they don't run so well. Java was never meant for this. All right, what's next? We'll go ahead and talk about some petrochem stuff over here. I know I was over here already, but a little all over the place. I upgraded this one from a regular distillation tower to the large fractioning one with a master parallel, so we can do 16 recipes at a time. We're also running this at LUV. I think before we were only running it at IV, so we're running it faster now. So it's a 5-tick recipe for like 16 recipes, which is very nice. This really does go through all our oil. Let's take a look how much oil we have. Yeah, we've really blasted down our stockpile. That's very nice. Over here, this used to be processing coal gas. I moved it over to this distillation tower, which is now doing both wood vinegar and coal gas. That stuff comes in slow enough where I can have the same distillation tower do both of them without having like overflows or anything, or one thing getting left behind. So it's fun. Because with the upgraded oil processing, in various places. Like these used to be HV machines, and I had to swap these out for LUV machines because how much faster that was. I also needed a lot more. I need dedicated fractioning distilleries because we get a lot of refinery gas. So I just this was just it was blocking up the other things. Like we have a lightly steam cracked light fuel and severely steam cracked heavy fuel. Both of those things weren't getting processed because refinery gas was just taking up all the bandwidth, and we are actually still not processing it fast enough. We get a lot of it. So yeah, I need to figure out a new method for this. Or maybe just add another one. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just like let it just sit here. Uh, I mean, I don't really care, honestly. It'll like stock up for refinery gas, and eventually I'll run through all the oil, and eventually it'll go through the backlog. So I'm not really concerned about it, if I'm being honest. Over here, let's see if I've made any. Oh, I added two electrolyzers over here. This one is for a bunch of other stuff in Petrochem and it hasn't changed. But this one was added here. There was a bunch of like LV machines here electrolyzing water, and we didn't need that anymore. I just left it because I didn't need to take it down either. But now I wanted the space for electrolyzing salt water, actually. We have a pump all the way over here in the old landing point when all of us were playing. This is where we started from. We didn't spawn here. We moved like 2,000 blocks. I have a pump here that just pumps salt water. And it's the best drilling ring, so it's fine. Oh, this is the mob farm, by the way. I didn't build this. My brother did, actually. It's actually pretty nice. I've never been in here. Oh, he has it. I think he has it off because I think it's like a TPS meter somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, this is where we get all our enchantments and stuff from. Anyway, the old farm. This was the old horrible refined storage area that we all used originally. Now we don't need it anymore. That was before we had refined, before we had applied energistics when we were poor. Let's see, what else have we done? Oh yeah, over here, I added another assembler block here. We are running low on recipe slots. It's actually kind of crazy. This one is using extended patterns because I don't want to build even like 40,000 of these things because we are going to have a lot of crafting recipes because this is all the mods. So there's lots of things to craft, especially since I'm going for the Greg star, which requires the ATM star. So, hopefully this will be the last one I build. I'll probably build another one anyway just for symmetry's sake, even if I never use it. I've also added a bunch of machines over here, mostly for Ender IO, and some other stuff like HDDP pellets, because you need that for the converters or whatever, the neutron activators. So I try to get this for on-demand stuff, and it doesn't actually work on demand, so I've just accepted that I'll have to do this manually. And I made 4 staffs of traveling, and I don't know if I'll ever come back to that, so I don't particularly care. That's a little bit messy. Let's see. We've exposed, yeah, all that stuff. We had to swap over to that. Ender for travel anchors. This is the top of my list for, God, weeks. And I'm so glad it's finally done. Oh, yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about DML. I do have LUV energy hatches. I'm pretty sure I had that last week, and I just forgot to check it off my list. So that's off my list. Over here is where we have, where we make the uranium, the fissile fuel and stuff. I really am sad that I can't use all the uraninite dust we get, because when the GregTech miners, when they mine up Power Reactor, when they mine up like the Power uraninite ore, they turn it into uraninite dust. So we have a ton of that, and it was only ever used for uranium hexafluoride. So I may actually go back for uranium hexafluoride for other things in GregTech, but it won't be used in the amounts it was before. Which is a little bit sad, but it is what it is, right? You can see we have plenty of refined fissile fuel. You can actually go ahead and, yeah, nice, we've got a full drive for it. Before I was level limiting it, and now I'm just letting the drive stock up, so I don't particularly care. Fissile fuel was off for a while, and I turned that back on. We're going to go ahead and talk about a show over here. I added a level emitter for electrolyzer because we're growing a lot of fluorite, actually more than we need. We grind down extra fluorite gems to dust, and then we electrolyze extra fluorite dust into fluorine gas. You also get calcium from it, but I don't particularly care. I also have here extra hydrochloric acid because hydrochloric acid is both a bunch of byproducts that we make. You can make it intentionally, but we also just get it in a bunch of other things. Uh, we have to make dichlorobenzene because I'm looking at the whatever it is, the horrible plastic. Uh, Liquid polybenzimidazole? I don't know. Dazole, maybe. This is a horrible rabbit hole, and this is just a fraction of the chemicals we need up here. And this does produce. Uh, where is it? One of these things produces. Maybe it's nitrochlorobenzene that produces hydrochloric acid. Chlorobenzene? Yeah, here we go. So we get that as a bunch of byproducts from stuff. So I'm just electrolyzing extra of it, so we can get some of that chlorine back. We do have DML over here. Sorry, hostile neural networks. It's gonna be DML to me forever. We have slimes. We have ghasts, withers, skeletons, and spiders. I also have some zombie models that I'm not using, and a few other models that I'm not using. Um, we need those things to make the lily pad of fertilities. Because if I go ahead and show you how we make these, you need the fertile essence, and this requires rib bone, catalyzing gland, and slime pearl. And these things are either rare drops or they come from the loop fabricator here. So loop fabricator it is. And then we just have our loop fabricators here. So we have nether stars on passive. That's why we have the quantum stars on passive. I should have shown that. Hopefully I did. Anyway, let's see. What else do we have? I did actually set up a fluid heater again, one that was faster, so that's good now. Yep, saltwater pump, extra fluorite. Oh yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about EBF stuff. So the EBF drives, the EBF district sort of had its own like localized storage. Not really because there's no subnets. But I had like a bunch of 64Ks partitioned for like multiple different ingots, and I kind of hated that. I don't really. It was kind of a bad idea before when I set it up. We didn't really want to waste 64Ks, and now I just don't care. So every single ingot gets its own 64K in most cases. Wrought iron gets it's a 256 because I'm processing down ilmenite dust to rutile dust and wrought iron. And these things are 16Ks because I felt like it at the time. It was like, oh man, a 64K is such a waste, and now that I've rebuilt it, I don't care. It's whatever. Because maybe I want to like increase the buffer on a certain ingot to like a lot or whatever. You know. Anyway, it's we also have Naquita coils, by the way. Yeah, we've got a bunch of them. I don't know where the rest of them. I had to cancel a couple of crafts. I do need to fix the assembler over here. It doesn't do blocking mode properly like it does for the assembly lines, and I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it's because there's multiple interfaces on this network. I I don't know. So I'm either gonna try and figure out how this works, or more likely just build another one and then just have single patterns on. Just have another one of these things with more bus slots and stuff. So I don't know what I'm gonna fix with that. I might try and do this work smarter instead of harder, but I also just might throw resources at the problem since we're pretty freaking wealthy. So go ahead and leave that alone. Uh, let's see. Anything else that's interesting? Oh, we did passive styrene rubber. It actually wasn't that bad. I think maybe I did that last week and just forgot to clear the list. We are processing extra cinnabar gems and stuff. We do have the individual towers and stuff. HTTP sheets and mech reactor. That's all the progression stuff I guess I've got for this week. I know I probably went through it pretty freaking quickly. That's my bad. But yeah, we're getting there. We're still so far from ZPM, by the way, or from like the ZPM energy hatch, because the ZPM energy hatch is. Let's take a look what it even needs. ZPM energy hatch requires sodium, potassium. We've got that stuff. Oh, you need we have ZPM circuits. ZPM hole. Here. Oh, no, yeah, Naquita alloy is, here. Bad. It requires, trinium, and trinium requires NAC-line. And NAC-line is a monster. Like, oh god. NAC-line's horrible. Naquita dust. Here, so you combine it with fluoroantimonic acid and you get all this stuff here. This you can just dump into titanium ingots so we can get that fluorine back. This you centrifuge it, and then you take the trifluoride and stuff, and you have to electrolyte. The thing is, that the fluoroantimonic acid is like the annoying part, or one of the most annoying parts. So it's antimony trifluoride. Antimony trifluoride requires liquid hydrofluoric acid and antimony trioxide. And antimony trioxide, you actually get, but I have to say, I think we're accidentally processing it down. But you combine this with oxygen to make. So this is just like a huge like rabbit hole of just a bunch of stuff. Because it's also a polybenzimidal, which you need for stuff as well. Like I think it's in Snackline and Ivy. No, this is Platline. But this is the polybenzimidal line, PBI. And you can see how horrible this is. Look at how many different chemicals. It's terrible. And then where is Snackline? Is that in ZPM? Yeah. So Snackline's another horrible thing that I'm gonna have to do. There's a bunch of like giant chemical lines that I have to. Like we have so many LCRs in this base. Like we out of any machine in this base, we have the most of LCR stuff. It's we have so many of them. We have 12 of them over here, or more or less. I think it's like 10-ish. We have like 8 of the big ones over there. Yeah, we used to have. I think I've probably removed a couple from somewhere. Oh yeah, I had those over there, but that's where the plot line went, over there. I did some work over here actually. I didn't mark it on my list. Mostly just upgrading some of these chemical combiners again, and adding more. Oh, finally, we actually went through all the osmium crystals. Oh, dude, that's so nice. We had like 700,000 at one point. So, that's nice. Hopefully we'll process some of this ore down. It takes forever. How about zinc? No. Oh, that buffer's going down as well. That's nice. We are processing this stuff extremely quickly for Mechanism, to the point where we have multiple max speed injectors of like just the whole, like we have multiple machines of this running zinc, multiple machines running osmium, all the way down the line. So we're producing just an absolute monstrous amount of zinc and osmium. So I don't particularly care that we're not processing it all that fast, because we're not processing all of it fast enough to get rid of all the stuff we're getting. We're not processing it faster than we're getting the zinc ore. And I don't really care, because we have 5 million zinc ingots and over 3 million osmium ingots, right? So, like here, look at this stuff. We got 5.9 tin, 5.9 iron, 5.1. Look how rich we are. We're loaded. We're actually loaded. So I'm not really concerned that we're not processing the ore as fast as we're coming in, as fast as it's coming in, because we already have so much. So it's like whatever, right? Maybe I'll come back here and rebuild it better so we do process it as fast as it comes in. But I also don't really care that much. We also have 6 large. They're not all large ultimate miners. They're actually large elite, like 2s. Yeah, these things are 7x7. We have 6 of these. We only have 6 of these now. I don't have any of the other miners running, and it's like mining like just under 300 chunks simultaneously, and it takes like I move them like once a week. Like since I built them like just after the process log, like Monday or something, or Sunday or something like that, and I had to move them for the first time yesterday. So they go for quite some time. So we have a lot. That's why we have so much ore, you know. Fortunately, the ore processing I built before is still more than enough to keep up with how fast the ore comes in, which is very nice. I'm very glad that I don't have to do any more upgrades for this. This was definitely overbuilt at the time. There's still a few things I have to move around. I still have to rebuild these centrifuges, but it's not really that important because they're not bottlenecked by throughput rate. So it's now that I moved some of the really long recipes off to their own dedicated centrifuges over there, like the plotline centrifuges were definitely the longest. So most stuff over here doesn't really require round robin. I might rebuild it just so it's consistent with the rest of the ore processing, but it's really low priority on the list. Same thing with over here, having to process tungstate and scheelite. Again, we don't get that much. It doesn't come in that fast, so this works, and I don't really need anything to put there anymore, so it's kind of like whatever. We had 3,000 tungsten dust earlier in the week. We've burned through quite a bit of it for some stuff, probably the large miners. which is nice. But we still have a really healthy stockpile of it, and I'm very happy because you use a lot of tungsten stuff. I think now that we've moved into LUV, we're making LUV machines. We use less tungsten stuff, and we're fine on all the LUV materials. It's like rhodium. Here, rhodium, we have 43,000. Palladium, we have 265,000. So we're chilling. I'm not concerned about those kinds of LUV resources anymore. Um, yeah, I think that's probably about it. Um, I let's see. If there's anything else over here that I've forgotten, anything I've changed? No, no, that's pretty much it. I do want to set up some passive ABS though. I do need to do that. I have not set that up for so long that I really actually need to set that up now because we do need some ABS recipes on passive for some things like niobium titanium. I'm really sick of doing that on demand because there's some things I do want to put on passive that do require niobium titanium. So that's something that's going to have to happen fairly soon. Oh, also I do have a drive for the blast furnace array. The wireless drive like the rest of the other drive arrays. So that's nice. Um, I think that's probably about it. Yeah, that's all I've got. Um, all right, guys. So I hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you all again next week.